So once again, I would like to welcome you all, and I hope everyone is doing well. And welcome to this empowering rural community session. So we have very wonderful speakers, two speakers, and we are going to have a very good section about and very lot of knowledge about empowering the rural community perspective in the global level, and mainly on the Indian perspective, how it is going to happen, how it's the work has been done. Lot of things we are going to know today. It's wonderful. It will be one of the best wonderful webinar. So our first speaker will be Dr. Shobha K. Dr. Shobha K. is our Internet Society Rural Development SIG technical lead, and also she's a senior IEEE member, and she's an Indian Society for Technical Education member, and she's a part of an International Association of Engineers. Also, she's a part of an LMSD and MySOC as well. She's working as an associate professor at the Department of Telecommunication Engineering and Electronics and Communication. And also she's from the Ramaiah Institute of Technology, Bangalore. So it's our pleasure to hear from you. Over to you, madam. You can start.
So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to participants who have joined from different parts of the globe. So today we will be trying to see the empowerment which we could be doing on the rural community in two angles. So my main focus would be on the internet facilities available in India. So first I would be trying to provide an analysis of how is the internet usage in urban as well as rural India. Then I'm going to talk about how community networks can provide a solution for increasing the internet usage in rural India. So these are the two dimensions. So the following are the agenda on which I am going to speak today. So first, let's look at how internet users in India are going to grow till 2023. So as the graph indicates, there is an exponential rise in the number of users, and by 2022, it is predicted that there will be 634.9 million users. So more and more penetration is going to happen in terms of the internet world in India. So now let's try to see where India stands with respect to internet penetration. So we stand as the second largest after China. So we have around 503 million users compared to China, which has 850 million users. Now, to see the split up in the rural and urban India, among 503 million, 227 million are from rural India and 205 million are from urban India. So this is a very interesting figure, which we can see the rural India has penetrated into the internet world ahead of the urban India. So it's a very good thing to happen. Now, among these users, if you see 5 to 11 age group kids are 71 million, and they are using a lot of internet using the devices. And if you see the gender distribution here, across India, there are 65% male users and 35% female users. In urban India, it is 60 and 40, whereas in rural, if you see, surprisingly, it is 69-31. So there are a lot of women users in rural India, which is growing up. Now, if you look at the age distribution of the users, 12 to 15 age group, there is 14%, 16 to 19, 17%. So majority of the users fall into 20 to 29 age group, and 30 to 39 takes the next position. So 40 to 49, there are only 9%, and 50 plus, there is 6% users. Now, if you look at the digital trends which is happening in India with respect to urban and rural, the women internet users in urban is 43% against 41%, and core internet user groups is 51 to 57. Internet access through PCs is almost same in rural and urban, and active internet users on a daily basis is urban and rural goes hand in hand. Now, looking at the frequency of accessing internet using the 2019 report, the frequency is, as we can see here, 4 to 6 days per week usage is 4%, 1 to 3 is 11%, once in a week is 7%, less than once a week is 13%, and everyday users occupy the majority there, which is 65%. Now, if you look at the urban and the rural distribution, so every day is 72% in the urban against 57 in the rural. So similarly, for 4 to 5 days and 1 to 3 days, we can see the distribution as it is shown in the curve here. Now, this part is very interesting. How the internet is being used at different places is what is the focus of this slide. So all over India, it is 92% of the people use from home. And if you can see the percentage in urban and rural, it is 94 to 90. So average of India stands at 92. So similarly, from the workplace, the average is 28%. During travel, the access is 25%. Studying arts, it is 9%, and at internet cafes, it is 2% on an average, and in other places other than this, it is 10% according to Internet India report. Now, if you look at the devices which are being used in order to access the internet in India, rural and urban, the mobile users are more, and the laptop is 6% in urban and 2% in rural. Desktop users 4 against 1, and the tab users are 1% in urban India. So this gives us statistics about how the internet usage is happening in India. Now this slide I have put to show what is the penetration of internet in different states. So if we see here in Delhi, the penetration is maximum, and Jammu and Kashmir also there is a lot of penetration. So similarly, we can see the distribution across different states in India. So this slide shows us that there is a lot of provision for us to carry out further penetrations in different states of India. So the average here, the penetration across India is 36%, and you can see the state-wise what is the distribution, and it also tells us what is the scope for us to work on in bringing in internet penetration across different states of India. Now, one possible way that we could be bringing in the penetration is using community networks. So what are these community networks? So these are the networks which are built and managed by the citizens or by non-profit organizations or the NGOs. So here, the citizens are involved in order to bring in the community networks, because the main theme of community networks is don't buy a network, try to be a network by yourself and be self-sustainable. So here, if the citizens become part of building the community network, so we can bring in connectivity where there is no connectivity at a cheaper rate. And if the NGOs are involved, they can externally initiate internet connectivity to the community. And most of the community networks which are there are all crowdsource initiatives, where the fund is raised in a collective manner from the users, and then it is started, and then it is made self-sustainable. Initial funding can also be obtained through some funding organizations, but in order to maintain the cost and sustain the network, some sort of revenue model need to be built in order to keep the community network going. Now, why do we need community networks, and what are the probable benefits we could be getting is it reduces the consumer cost, because mostly the community networks are non-profit networks and they use the unlicensed band in most of the cases. And because of this, the cost of usage will be low. And the second advantage is it increases the investment in local economy. That is, whatever is the funding which is raised and invested will be generated from the local and be used for the local. So there's a very big benefit that we can get. It also enhances the local skill. That is, the community networks will help in building the skill set and for establishing a network and managing a community network. So in the bargain, there could be a lot of training and skill development which could be brought into the local people who are going to use the community networks. So the next advantage is it will help us in unwinding the inequitable social systems. That is, It can bring in positive outcomes like entrepreneurship and education. And the last advantage which you could be getting is enhanced social bonding, because the community networks are built by the people for the people, and the entire network works for a common cause. There could be a lot of social bonding which could happen between different category people. So this could be one advantage, and we could also bring in some revenue generation to the rural community where the community network is established. So there are different models with which the community network could be built. The first one could be the free nets, where a free local dial-up internet access could be provided, and that could be used by the users where there is no actual internet availability. Or it could be a community network website. So here a community network is built with the web archive of graphical web pages, and it could be used for organization and small businesses. Now, the community networks could also be used as a learning center and community technology center for enhancing the computer usage and building the skill set of the rural community. It can also act as a community education network where online training could be provided to school children and college students by using the expertise which is available across the globe. Then it could also act as a community public forum where a lot of civic collaborations could be brought in through the web. Now, the community networks could we could be visualizing it in the way which is shown in the slide here. The conventional networks which are existing, they have different level of providers, which could be a physical infrastructure provider, a network provider, and a service provider, and finally the end users. Whereas in the community networks, if we see the network is built by the community, so here this part could be eliminated, and there could be just the service providers. The network itself can provide service to others, as well as there could be a community service which is availed by the people who have set up the community network. So this could be the common components which could be possible in a community network. So usually the funding comes from crowd sourcing, and based on the necessity of the community, we could be using the equipments which are suitable for that community for their usage and applications. So the cost could be effective, and the services could be tailored to the local applications which are required by the community. And there could be some community networks which could be even catering to the needs of the geographical area without even using the internet, just for the local usage. So there could be some models which could be developed like that as well. So the managing tools could be built in, which could be part of the infrastructure, and the economy model could be self-sustainable, and it could also act as a revenue generation model for the people to build in their economy by showing the skill sets of theirs and trying to generate some e-commerce applications. So these are certain things which are possible with community networks. So some services which could be provided is communication using VoIP telephony or mail services or messaging, or data exchange services where file sharing could happen, or it could be entertainment which could be provided, or it could be information and education, and as well as some skill development services with respect to training, and such kind of services could be put in. And even an e-commerce platform could be opened up for the rural community. So these are some sort of services which are possible and which are being implemented in different community networks which are being established. So my focus of this presentation was, I wanted to demonstrate that there is a big leap in the internet usage over the past few years in India, and but still the penetration is not very much meeting everyone's needs. So there is scope for bringing in a lot of more penetrations into the rural community. So rural development SIG, which can play a major role here in the spread of awareness as well as usage in rural areas, as well as it could contribute towards internet governance. So it gives us a lot of scope for working in rural India. So the next speaker is going to give you an idea of what are the implementations she has done in different rural areas and how she has built in networks in order to support the rural community needs. So that's all from my end. Over to you, Adarsh.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's very good information about the community network perspective. Thank you so much for that. So our next speaker is Dr. Sarbani Banerjee Belur. So she's working as a senior research scientist, spoken English project from the Indian Institute of Technology, IIT, that is an IIT Bombay. So over to you, madam.
Yeah. So hello everyone, and I'm Shobha Banerjee Belur, and I'm the Asia Regional Coordinator for Association for Progressive Communications, APC, and I'm also the Senior Research Scientist at the Spoken Tutorial Project at IIT Bombay. The discussion, today's talk I'm going to give is on the importance of community networks for meaningful and sustainable connectivity. Now, all of you all must be knowing about, Shobha ma'am just now gave the presentation on community networks, that the last mile connectivity is a viable solution for the last mile connectivity could be community networks. I have been working in the domain of rural connectivity for the past 5 years and have seeded community-led networks, community-owned networks, and community networks in general. Now, rural connectivity challenges in India are basically three. One is the unavailability as a fiber point of presence, or the backhaul is often 50 kilometers away or 20 kilometers away from the villages, and thus the villages thus there is no connectivity in the villages because the fiber backhaul is so far away, very hilly. 80% of India is hilly terrain. That's a problem. That is one of the problems. The second problem is that low average revenue per user. The villagers actually have no revenue annual, so their monthly income is not fixed, and that's the reason why telecom operators are not very keen on going to serve these people in the villages, because today they might buy 50 rupees worth of mobile recharge they might do, but then next month if they don't have the money, they will not do. They will not be able to do. And intermittent availability of electricity is the next problem. So there is an uneven demand and supply. On the supply side, the ISPs are unwilling to go because low ARPU, and on the demand side, there is a lack of digital awareness. There is less demand. Till date, there are many villages where there is absolutely no connectivity, no voice connectivity as well, and there is no sort of, they are sort of not so worried about it. And even if they are worried about it, but they don't have the digital literacy and other things that enable them to use the services effectively. Rural India's dependency on connectivity is a lot. These are from the field experiences that I see that there is the use of manual records by the auxiliary nurse midwives and ASHA workers in primary healthcare centers. If they don't, so if they,
you don't know.
So if they don't upload the manual records every month, then they don't get a salary. They are unable to upload attendance, scholarships of students in the school. That is one of the other reasons that they are dependent on connectivity, yet they can't use the connectivity because there is no connectivity. ATMs, there are no ATMs and banks in the villages, and the e-governance services that the government has made for the people in the rural areas are unable to reach the rural people. So actually, the people in these remote rural villages, they have to come to the village, to the city or the town to avail of the services, and that's like an enormous amount of money which they have to spend. Now, why community networks? So most of y'all must y'all just think about it, that in your own villages, what is the connectivity situation in your own village or in the place where your native place is, and you see that there is actually a need in that last mile, which the telecom operators or the BharatNet is not solving. It has reached up till the Gram Panchayats. BharatNet optical fiber has reached up till the Gram Panchayat, but it has not gone into the villages. So so why community networks? Community networks, as Shobha ma'am has told, it's like network by the community for the community. Now, if there is a telecom operator, for example, and the telecom operator is taking the connectivity to the villages or to the people, what will be their perspective of connectivity? It is their own perspective that they have to bring in the subscribers, they have to bring in the customers, and that's the reason why they will connect those people. But no one actually thinks about the needs of the people in the community. Like, might be that my community needs connectivity to enable some hospital wherein telemedicine can be effective, or a bank, because I have to walk to the city 12 kilometers to the city, and to withdraw money from the bank. So the needs of the connectivity, the needs of the community is often not catered to. The community networks are often owned by the community. So it's like it's a network that is owned by the community, and community looks into the network. So it can be a capex funding that we can set up a community network through a capex funding, but the operational expenses, the OPEX, has to come from the community. And that's why, like Shobha ma'am mentioned about the sustainable business model that should go with seeding community networks to grow. And the next point is like sustainability of connectivity, wherein we can enable partnerships between private, public, and panchayat as partnership models, multi-stakeholder partnership models, or entrepreneurship models within the community, which can generate money for the people in the community, and that goes into the connectivity journey of the community. It also enables gender equality for use and utilization. So in most of the cases, what we see is that when connectivity is enabled to these rural areas, women use it less, and but through community networks, there is sort of an equality. So men and women are equal in the community networks. Everyone participates equally, and everything is local within the community network. Now, role of organizations supporting community networks. There are various organizations, but two very noteworthy organizations are Internet Society and the country chapters of Internet Society. There are a lot of chapters of them that work on community networks, and in every country of country chapters of Internet Society. The next organization that I would like to mention is of the Association for Progressive Communications. This is an organization that is based out of Johannesburg in South Africa, and they have an ongoing program, or a program that is on community networks learning grants, wherein 12 community networks peer grantees are there. They are working together with 4 each from Asia, Africa, and Latin America. So the question that comes up is, why connect? When you are going into a community, what is it that makes you feel that we have to connect those communities? So first, we have to determine the need. So it is not my need for connecting those communities, but it is the need for the community to connect themselves. So we have to understand from their perspective the need for connectivity. Sometimes it might happen that they don't need an online connectivity at all. There is so I will tell you about the community network that I have seeded. So it is not your need, but the need of the community that has to come in. What are the values of connectivity, in the sense that how do they associate themselves with connectivity? Is it something that they would like to develop some community technologies, or they would like to be passively watching WhatsApp and watching movies, or what do they do? What do they want to do with that connectivity? The users of connectivity, who will enable the connectivity is the next question that we should ask to the community, that who is going to enable the connectivity. Of course, we are going to handhold them for enabling the connectivity, but the community should take the responsibility of connecting themselves. So that responsibility has to come from the community. Is it an online connectivity or an offline connectivity? That is also a question that needs to be asked. And of course, funds is a major issue. And the last point is a sustainable business model. Like, okay, you would like to bring in partners, different partners, to become part of the community network, the funding process. So the private, the public, the panchayat. So you can bring in different partners who can be partners to enable connectivity, and it can be also some entrepreneurship models that can be developed. So like women SHG groups and other things that can be developed within the community. Now, what we can also work on is that in a community network, we often work together on infrastructure reuse and sharing. So over there, we can't say that, oh, this is my infrastructure, this is what I have set up, and you can't use it. No, it is not like that. So we have used, in our community networks, we have used a lot of infrastructure, like a 12 meters to a 12-meter defunct towers that we have used, 10 to 15 meters defunct towers, defunctional towers that we have used in the villages. So we have used in every GP that is there. We have taken permission from the district collector to use those towers, and we have used those towers. So like we have also used the old towers that are already there. We have, by strengthening those towers. So you are bringing down the cost. If you are using some of these towers, then you can bring down the cost of connectivity. Like you can also use the Gram Panchayat office for putting up your devices. So these are some of the examples. Now, when you know that power is a very big issue in the villages, so we can use solar power. So we have done so that with 48 hours battery backups as solar power, so that it is not too much of an expenditure on the Gram Panchayat also, if you are going to set this up in the local self-government office. So not being reliant on the grid electricity. Now, what happens in these community networks is that these are also the hotbed for indigenous technology development. Like, for example, I'll tell you the example of, for example, the need for routers. So the Libre router and the Libre mesh is one of the examples that I would like to say. This has been developed completely by the community in Argentina. It's Altamundi that has developed this, and it is actually a very it's a router. It's an open source router, and we are doing the testing of these routers currently in various community networks. And the first prototype of this is out, and you can read more about it in the web link given below. The other technology development that can take place is community radios, for example. Like you can set up a radio station in the community with a tower and the devices and a studio for the community to record content. There can be an intranet mesh network that can be an offline mesh network, having the capabilities of being not being online, but equivalent to being online. Like you can have various other options like talkie application, wherein the community can speak to themselves, each other, without having a mobile network. Generation of community content, community platform is something, because that's the community website wherein all the content can be there, content in local languages, and the e-commerce website for the community. Now, what happens is that we often look into how we can take the connectivity from the fiber point of presence to the villages. So we adopt different types of network topologies. So here is one network architecture which we have used. So you see, so you see that these blue ones are the towers that are there, of where the fiber point of presence is there, and we have taken it through from the tower. We have gone to a location. We have made a drop there, and from there we are connecting to the villages. Similar way, if the villages are very close by in the periphery of 5 kilometers to 10 kilometers in line of sight, then we use a topology like this, wherein we can connect. So point to multi-point is something that we can connect. So various topologies. Now this one is the recent community network that we have set up. This is the network architecture, wherein you will see that the connectivity is only at one point, one location, which is enabled through the SIM card based cellular router. This is the place, the community support center, and the rest of the network is an offline mesh network. And the three hamlets are talking to each other. So we need to understand, or we need to work together to enable different types of network architecture. We have to ensure that there is enough community participation, like we have like co-creating internet. It is not me creating internet in these villages. It is the people, the community that creates internet. So various ways of co-creating internet, like for example, the use of community radio, collecting data about traditional knowledge, which they can share. They don't have a repository of those knowledge, tribal art and craft, and local language news. So there are a lot of challenges that is faced by the community. Like for example, sometimes they will want a network that is 24/7, which is not possible. And then the next question that comes up is affordability to view content. If you need to have a network that is 24/7, then it has to be affordable. It has to be also meaningful, and there has to be an ownership of the connectivity. So there was a need. So this one is one of the slides from the need, identifying the need for community-based technologies and local access servers. So there are other community barriers and challenges, like the pull barriers and the push barriers. Pull barriers are the low literacy. Usually these are people who are semi-literate or not literate at all. They have low digital literacy, and the linguistic and cultural diversity is there within these communities. And the push barriers are the need for personalization and inclusivity. So the gendered use of connectivity is also something that we really need to look into while setting up a community network in any location. Like how can women become equal partners in the connectivity journey? So it should not be thrust upon that we need to have women as an important component, but it has to be a normal thing that women should be equal partners in setting up the community network. Now, I'll talk about this community network, which we seeded in Pathardi village in Jawahar with the funding from APC. And this was worked together with Bayev Development Research Foundation in Pune. So this community network was a women first approach in community network. And so we began with our studies on understanding their need for connectivity. Like, why do they need connectivity? Is there something that we can do? Why do they need the connectivity? So this is like one of the meetings wherein we are discussing with the people as a Gram Sabha meeting that there is a need. By determining the need for connectivity, Then we did some technical assessments of where is the nearest tower, from where we can take the bandwidth, and how we can work on the elevation and things of that sort. We also identified local knowledge within the community, like tribal art and craft that is there within the community, and it came out from the community itself that there is a need for them to document such type of art and craft, and they want to make this as a business model for them, because they are completely 80% of the people are sort of illiterate in these communities, and so they wanted to make use of their tribal art and craft. Now, what we did was that this is I showed you the network architecture. So we have the online connectivity at one location, that is the community support center, wherein we have enabled a banking correspondent, a lady banking correspondent, and the connectivity over there, which is enabled through the SIM card based cellular router, is for enabling Aadhaar services, IRCTC bookings, and e-governance services, mobile recharge, and banking facilities through Aadhaar-enabled payment system and the biometric device. So this is how the online connectivity works at the community support center. The offline mesh network uses the art and craft, the Tarpa music that they have, the Wali dance, the Talkie application, community radio, and the paper mesh art. So they come to these access points within the village that act as a Wi-Fi hotspot, and through their smartphones, they create the knowledge that is created. So they record audio, video, and they upload it from their smartphone. So we have enabled a platform through which they can do it. It's an application that they use in the smartphone. The deployment, of course, we did a training for 3 days, and the deployment was done by the community. And this is how the deployment is taking place. And so now the banking correspondent is the EDOS. So she is the digital village catalyst, and she is the one who enables all these services within the village. And for each of the services, she charges a fixed amount of money, and that's her income. So it's an income generation for her also. So she charges these money for such nominal amount, and that's where she earns money from the connectivity. Now we have used the multi-stakeholder partnership model, which is the public panchayat partnership, public-private panchayat partnership model, which is like the panchayat is an important part, or the self-government is an important part in this partnership model. And the panchayat enables because the panchayat takes care of the community needs. That is why panchayat becomes a very important part of this model, of this sustainable economic model. And it's a model that is very modular and scalable model, and it's a very localized model. It can be used, it can be adapted to different regions. So now what we have also done, as I have mentioned about the local art and craft, so she is the banking correspondent who enables the banking services within the village, and these are the art and craft. So these become, we have created an e-commerce platform for the community, and these art and craft goes into the e-commerce platform, and through this we sell it online, and the money goes directly back into the community. So this is how the entrepreneurship model works. And these are some of the satisfied users of the connectivity. And so we have published some papers on community network. Yes, that's from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. We got a lot of information about this, how to provide what are the major challenges from the challenges perspective, and how to resolve the challenges, and how to increase the empowerment opportunities by providing the online and offline opportunities in the rural areas. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation once again. And now it's time for Q&A. Please, the audience, if anyone have queries, so you can raise your hand. Anyone? Okay, probably seems no one have a questions now. So if anyone have a questions, wants to know anything, because we are in the global perspective. So in each area, in each country, in the each based on the region, there will be challenges will be different, and you can sync up with our speakers because from the practical experience, they have more knowledge and they come across the challenges while the implementation perspective as well. So you can reach to our Internet Society Rural Development Special Interest Group, and also you can reach to our speakers as well anytime. Thank you one and all for joining this section. It was a wonderful section. I would like to thank special thanks to both the speakers, Dr. Shobha K, and also to the Dr. Sarbani Banerjee Belur. And this is a wonderful knowledge section, sharing knowledge section. Thank you one and all once again. Have a great day. Thank you.